Yeah.
Awesome. Talk about your music your album that just came out. And walk me through the process. Like, what is it like to release two albums in a year?
I get inspired to release as much music as possible because I listen to King Gizzard a lot, and I don't know if you know that band, but they released 5 albums in 1 year. And so that was like 2017. I'm just like thinking like, wow, like if they could release 5 albums in a year, why can't, if I have all the resources, all the time in the world, I'm like fortunate to have the time because I know I respect that people don't have the time to do this because they have all the responsibilities. But I have the time, I have the resources. So I just decided, I have so many ideas. Why not just release as much as possible in 1 year? And so it's not easy, definitely not easy because like I have everything here, but recording sucks. And it's hard. It's I'm very like I'm a perfectionist in a way because hold up, I need to drink some water. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I hear you coughing. I'm like, someone get this guy some water. I see your Smith shirt too. That's very good.
Oh, yeah, they're the best band out there, like that ever existed, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion.
Wow.
Which so the process of just like recording and releasing 2 albums is, first of all, you gotta have a concept. I always like to have concepts. I don't like to just throw out ideas and just hope for the best. I don't like throwing darts at the wall and just expect something good to come out. Um, Heartbreak, like I went through a heartbreak, and so like that inspired a lot of the music. We're not gonna talk about that, but heartbreaks
Moving on.
inspire. Yeah, heartbreaks inspire like music, and I think the concept of the apple was like the apple scent. I don't know, green apple. Like I smell green apples on like this girl I was dating, and like I like that idea. Like I feel like everyone has a scent to themselves. Like you have a certain scent, I have a certain scent. Like the guy down the street has a certain scent. Like my dad smells a certain way. Like people smell a certain way, good or bad. Like they just have a scent, and so the idea was like the apple was the scent that I wanted to focus on, and so that's why like I wrote all these songs. Lyrically, maybe some of them touched on that person, but it also touched on like relationships, friendly, platonic, romantic, um, and maybe with your boss, just relationships in general with that could be any kind of relationship. And so concept was number one. Number two was like how exactly you want the sound to sound like. I was very inspired by Dead Kennedys, the Smiths, jazz once again. And that was just like the sound I wanted to stick to. I had got new gear. I have a Stratocaster that I used for the demos that my friend let me borrow from college, and I love the guitar so much, but he wanted it back, and so like what 3 years later, I messaged him out of nowhere. It's like, hey, can you sell me that guitar? Because I'm not getting the sounds that I want with any other guitar. He's like, yeah, just give me $400, and then so like I took his guitar and I bought it, and I was just like, this is the guitar that I've been wanting and that I've been needing because it gives me that sound. The sound, like, I'm sure you play guitar. Wait, do you play guitar or do you play bass?
I play guitar.
I'm sure you like know like exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to like wanting that sound. And so I was looking for that Strat sound, high reverb, distortion. I was still in the mood like it has to be aggressive and it has to be like at the same time it needs to have a lot of melody. And so that's what came out of the apple. Like the apple was the concept was there, the sound was there, and the lyrics were all there. Like I was just I had so much motivation and so much inspiration, and that's what came out of the apple. I feel like I think like I'm also leaving behind everything that happened in that talks about the album and the sound. I want to like drive to other sounds, but in the apple specifically, it was just like aggression, emotion, concept, and then just sound, focusing on sound, and that's what came out. Now, the second album that just released, actually, it's called The Clown, is inspired mostly lyrical because everything was already written. These were demo songs. Like I have all the demos for them, and I listened to them before I like after the Apple. I was just like thinking like I was actually we were kind of slow, but the Apple came. We were pumped. We were ready to like just go out there and like start playing live, and then pandemic hit, and then boom, like what can you do? You know, like life just happens. And
By the
so
way, where can listeners find the demos? Do you release the demos before you
no,
release?
no, I don't.
Oh,
There's nothing out there like that people could listen to. There's some takes on SoundCloud, but they're not demo like. There were like takes that I didn't like, and we recorded, and we released them on the first album. The Clown has the first song on the Clown has is called Summer's Rift, and that there's a version of that on SoundCloud, and it has like a jellyfish picture, and so like some takes are on SoundCloud, but none of the demos are out for people to listen to. Maybe one day, I'll just be bored and just find it, like collect them all together and like just release them. But not right now. I feel like I don't want to yet. But I do like the demos. I still listen to the demos a lot. But the Clown was definitely inspired lyrically because of like the pandemic and social unrest. Like I'm sure like a lot of people found a lot of time to just write about what's happening nowadays. And the clown specifically is like it, you know, like it, like Pennywise like chases after like people's fears, and like I kind of took that, and I decided to make the clown is the ignorance that we carry within ourselves, like me, you, but like anyone else. And so I'm thinking clown is that is the clown that preys on your ignorance.
hmm.
And so the title song, there's a song on the album called The Clown, not just Clown, and it just talks about that. It just talks about how like racism and like um racist prejudice, like like profiling, white privilege, whatever you may call it. It touches about that on that, and like it's just like how this clown that lives within us, and he's there to check on our ignorance and just like call you out on it. And so that was like the concept of that whole album, just talking about like Summoner's Rift is actually the name of like some video game stuff, but like the second album is Signs. It's kind of like the song's called Signs, and it just talks about um like social unrest again. But Cages specifically, the second song called Cages talks about the like the children and the moms and the parents like locked up and like under like ice, and so that's what that song speaks about. Then the clown comes after that, and I already spoke about that, but um uh dang, what's that song? I don't even know the song titles. Dang it.
Clown, Sorrow, Blonde Juice, Los
Sorrow. Yes, yes, yes. Ah, thank you so much. Sorrow is about police brutality, um, and Blonde Juice is about a girl that my best friend Tito, who plays bass in the band, dated and broke. He got his heart broken, and the last song, the next song was uh,
I'm cheating. I have it on Spotify. Los Puercos and then La
Los
Cumbia del Diablo.
Dude, thank you so much. You're the best. Los Puercos is obviously the pigs, and like that's also about police. And La Cumbia del Diablo is actually was supposed to be on the first album, but never came out, and I didn't like how it came out at first, but I re-recorded it. So yeah, the whole album is just everything. They're all old songs, and I never thought they were good enough to be on an album, and I just decided to release them because I feel like they did deserve to be on an album, but they just didn't deserve to be on the first two. And so, yeah.
And what everyone really wants to know is where do you get your inspiration for the album art? I mean, every cover is just so different.
Yeah.
We've got like someone hanging off a cliff. We've got an octopus on someone's face. Like,
Yeah.
where do you get your inspiration for the album art?
Everything is film. And I'm not really into a lot of art, but some art, mainly film. Um, okay, like the Apple specifically, I am sitting on a bench, head down, and Doc
On a red
Martens.
bench.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all punked out, and
Oh,
like
I
there's a tree behind me, and like
think you have
that.
your hand in your head
Yeah,
in your
yeah,
hands.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was inspired by Minor Threat. Minor Threat. Ian McKay had his like in one of the albums. He was just like head down, like just bummed out. Like that. That was like the inspiration to that pose. That spot. Like I'm so surprised a lot of people from Vista don't know where that spot is. And like I don't want to give it out yet. Like I don't want to tell anyone where it's at. Like they need to go out there and find it. Like explore your city. Like what are you like what are you doing? Like get out. Like don't be watching Netflix all day. Like go do something. And like then the first album's Fine Dining. That album I really enjoyed because it talks about us young people and the amount of money we spend that we don't have. And so that was like Fine Dining. The title was Fine Dining because it's like even now, like with so many people like with unemployment checks, like like for a while I saw a lot of people like eating T-bone steaks, crab legs, like just like spending
Wow.
money like nothing. Like I'm just
Yeah.
and that reminds me of those times of like when like Fine Dining came out, and I'm just like thinking like people were doing the same thing. They're like dead broke and don't have money, and like still go out and spend like they do have money, and it's ridiculous.
So
And
for our
so
listeners who don't have it pulled up, it's a picture of a cup of noodles, and there's tapatio, and there's like a Pepsi. You've got like
yeah,
your lime and salt. And it's all on the table.
it's like that's all you need. That's all you need. Why do you need to go out and get crab legs? Like go eat a T-bone steak or filet mignon, whatever it is. Like it's like that's that reality. That's like the picture shows the reality of things. Like there's people who do have money but don't eat like you. And so that's the inspiration through that art. The clown, obviously, like I wanted to really. I think the picture that I sent, like the artist who drew the first album and now the third album, um, was way different than what he gave me because it's like I was like, hey, can you draw something like this, like a clown, kind of cartoony, sad? And he was like, yeah, send me a demo. I drew it out, and then he's like, a week later, 2 weeks later, he's like, he's from Texas, by the way, he's my cousin, and he comes to Vista, and he's like, yeah, I'm sorry, bro, like I couldn't, like I was not in the mood for what you gave me, and I went like a completely 360 route, like to a 180, like this is what I want to do, and he shows me, and I'm just like, dude, holy shit, like this is exactly what I wanted, like even better, like I couldn't have picked it out, like I couldn't have been any better than what he came with. So and that's like the idea was Pennywise, obviously, then like from the movie It, like the first iteration of him, like I didn't like the new ones that came out, but like the first iteration like was great, like the bald spot that and the two hair puffs in like in the sides, and that's just how that came out, like a sad clown and just showing disappointment, and that was like the inspiration. Yeah.